Hey there, everyone. Michael Damon back with you again for another episode of Stand Up and Shine. And Shill, we also Shill here. And also, I'm sitting down for a stand up. And this is a weekly or semi weekly, as we'll talk about possibly in an upcoming slide here, session where I check in with you in an agile format. Sort of like, with agile methodology of having a stand-up, of just checking in with your teammates, and you are my teammates, my audience, to let you know what I've been working on and what I'm going to be working on and any sort of friction points that I'm encountering. And that's kind of what we're doing here, and let's begin. So some program notes here to start with is that first we have chapters. Somewhere around here, if you are a YouTube user, which is the only place I post this, so this probably should be the only place that you see it, but we do have chapters. They're supposed to automatically add them, but they were not for whatever reason, so I added them after the fact last week, and they should be in there from the go this week. And so you can check those out. And if you have a problem with how these the length of these sessions, then you are free to fast forward to these chapters. And that's kind of the idea there. I kind of get, I get self-conscious about the time, but also, that's the crowd I'm actually drawing right now. This is the crowd that I'm aiming for. And, maybe they have a little extra time in their day and they want to go through about, 20, 25, 30 minutes maximum of content, of seeing what I'm up to. So there's that. We have chapters. And then also, I've been doing this for a full month, and I wanted to give it a full month to sort of see how I felt about doing it on a weekly basis before I made a decision. And I'm still actually on the fence still. So I'm still, it's the fourth episode and it's a full month. And, I'm kind of debating whether I should go a full, every 2 weeks or every week sort of thing. I think definitely long-term, it's a full, I want to do every week. But that is taxing right now. It's sort of that thing where it's like one day of every week right now is dedicated to doing this. So it's a bit of a tax, and I'm still kind of debating that. So next week, if I'm here, then, I have decided to go weekly, but if not, then what happened. Okay, a little improvement over last week here now with the statistics that we had. We now have a dashboard. Congratulations, right? This is something I've been talking about for weeks, for a lot longer than it feels like. And you can find that with that by going up to this hamburger menu icon, and simply going to the dashboard here and just click on that, and that will take you to this screen. And you can see all the statistics, and they are categorized by the past day, the past week, and for all time. So that's the good news. The bad news is that I don't really have any all impressive statistics for the past week or the past day, because things have been kind of drawn down to a lull here as I've been kind of fighting DevOps 2, and I haven't really been marketing anything very much, and nothing's happening. I mean, we're not even traffic, so which is okay, because I was deploying to production, and that was actually kind of nice to be like, okay, this could take everything offline, but it's okay because no one's visiting, sort of thing. So that actually worked out well, I think, and it was a good time to do that. And so now going forward, I can start making improvements to fix that, to actually start driving traffic back here again. But as you can see, what I've done here is just overall user accounts. We've got 29 user accounts that have been created, and then I break them down into which identity provider that they have. And so you can see, I already see a bug here is that I'm showing Coinbase, and Coinbase is not an accepted, it was at one point, and then I turned it off. So I'm going to have to disable the ones that are disabled. Facebook is also another one that's there that's been disabled. But you can see, who's using what and what that looks like. And, kind of get a sense of how much activity has been transpiring there for all time, for the past week and for the past day. Then I go into statistics of how many sales profiles. We have 4 artists right now, 4 creators have created a sales profile, and I am one of them. So we have 3 other people out there that have created a sales profile account. And then there have been 14 issuances for a total of 94 licenses. So this means that in my case, particularly the next issuance that is over, which should be 11 in my case, will take us over 100 licenses. So that will be kind of a cool accomplishment here with all of our licenses that are purchased with fake money during the alpha preview here. But that's kind of cool, right? That's sort of the name of the game, is that these licenses grow over time. And, when you start reaching to 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 100,000, those start taking particular value, right? They have particular meaning, and people will pay more on the resale. So that attributes to the resale quotient of a particular license at any time. So that's something to be aware of, something that I think will gain value, pardon the pun, over time. And that's what we have there for licenses. So then from what I do from there, kind of just going along with the production, so I take those sales profiles and I break them down into where, who the provider for that. And they're all Twitter right now, as you can see. And so that's kind of I'm really glad to have this done finally, to kind of see, who's using what and how much of that, and what the activity is for any given week or day, or for the past day, sort of thing. So, okay. And then finally, we've got our market statistics. How many sales have we had? And we've had 41 total sales, and surprisingly 9 resales, which is cool. And we've had 1 sale in the past week. So thank you to whoever that was that purchased something in this past week. And there you go. So that's kind of cool, huh? We've got our dashboard. I just put this together yesterday. So it's been the whole week has been getting, DevOps 2 together, and then put this together yesterday. And I'm going to be rounding it out. We'll talk about that next year. All right, so we've seen already. We just got done talking about that dashboard, so that's going to be something that's going to take place. Statistics from going forward here, we can see the statistics of the system, and the other thing I still need to do with that is visitors, right? So there's no connections. It's a little trickier. That's not just readily available in my database right now, or my data model. I have to get that from Seek. And Seek contains that, so I have to figure out how to contact their API and pull that in. So also the other thing to note about that dashboard is it gets recompiled once every hour. So it's being stored, it's being created and stored in memory for an hour. So that's how that works. And so that is the remaining work for that. And then the other thing I think I mentioned is just DevOps. It's just been such a pain, and it's thankfully done. I have all the builds done. I have everything I'm really happy with it now, but took forever. It took 3 weeks to do this, and it's such it's so irritated. I'm just so irritated with that. And it's so frustrating to go through basically the entire time here, just work on that and really nothing else. I haven't really been able to do anything else, especially, when getting adoption is all predicated on my activities, right? I'm the only person working on the project, and it's a really huge challenge. So, but it's all there, and I have all the builds that I want, and they're all seemingly to be working right now. The only thing is, so there's 2 things. One is the builds themselves. I now have them on multi-agent, and that's, I think I mentioned part of the problem was that our swaps were taking like 20 minutes. Now they only take 10. They take between 8 and 10 minutes right now, which is a huge improvement. It's still kind of slow for my tastes, but they work, and I've got it set up so that you're running concurrently. So I've got 6 applications that are being swapped concurrently, and that's all configured properly now and working. And then I've got the ability to take things offline if necessary, and then swap them back in if I have to. So that's kind of a nice little feature there I didn't have before. So, worth 3 weeks there of work. I don't think so, but we're finally here. It's all there. And finally, the second thing I was going to talk about was now I've got a problem with Azure. So I put everything together, and then my web jobs they started failing whenever I tried to stop them or start them. So whenever I try to start and stop a web job now in both my testing and staging environments, they're failing, and it's failing with a 404 error, which doesn't make sense because they're listed, and so I'm now. I opened this ticket back on Friday, and I'm talking with Azure support right now, and they're kind of, here we're on Tuesday, and I still don't know what's going on. I still haven't heard anything back. So I'm starting to get a little concerned here. It's priority B right now, which is accurate. It's not really production. If it was production, I'd be and I do have a workaround. It's just kind of an irritating thing, and it's also kind of concerning. It's taking this long to hear anything, sort of thing. But that's what's going on in DevOps. It's the story that will not die right now for me. But we're seeing the end there, hopefully. And so now I can move on to things like the dashboard, finishing that up, and then we'll talk about that in the next slide. But the other thing too is just adjusting to my drawing cycle. It's been a challenge, man. This drawing, just dedicating myself every night, even when I'm feeling tired, that's been really a huge challenge as well. But I'm doing that, and maybe not the full 2.5, 3 hours, but an hour, maybe half hour sort of thing. There was one day I just said I couldn't do it, but it's sort of like working out, sort of like going to the gym. It's all dedication, and I have a lot of experience with that, and I'm trying to pull from that as well. So that's kind of rounds out what I did. Let's talk about what I'm going to do. Okay, so what am I doing now? Finally got DevOps done. I just cannot stress how awesome that feels to have that. Like, I feel happy with it, right? There was before, it was like, yeah, I still have some things left to do, and I actually am not too confident on how long it's going to take. Well, it took a full week, and now there's none of that, right? All the builds are there, and so I no longer have to work on that. And so now it's a dashboard, and finally attending to customer feedback, because now there were some things about the front page in the storefront that were, low-hanging fruit. That's something I can put together or fix probably the next day or so. But who knows, right? With my luck, how long that's going to take. But the other thing too is customer feedback for, this is the next story. If I get done with those, is this is for the next week, what you see up there. But after that is the creation. And if you are a creator, making it easier to create a product. And so I've got a really cool workflow I'm going to try to put together. And, if it's not this week, it's going to be the week after that. So finally, that's sort of the point where, there's feedback where if you made this faster, I could start actually recommending other artists that I know to try that. And I'm like, okay, let's do that, because that sounds like a good idea to me. So that's what I'm going to be working on. And that's going to happen after this customer, the feedback for the front page and storefront. And so the other thing you'll see here is that I've switched up the schedule here for my announcement. It went from May to June. It's actually the middle of May, and I'm switching it to June, and it's not going to go past June 7th because that's my birthday. And I have a promise to my family that, starting with my birthday this year, that I was going to be making money from this project. So it has to be on my birthday. And if I make one sale on my birthday, then I accomplish that goal, and I fulfill that promise, sort of thing. So it's not going to go past my birthday, and, I'll probably most likely be done with it before then. But that's sort of how things look now, and we'll see. I kind of want to get some padding just with all the friction that I've encountered this past month, and just kind of see where we go for that announcement. And yeah, again, it's not going past my birthday because I have a promise, and I'm pretty good with keeping my promises, so, or at least I think I am, and I want to keep up with that. So all right, that's what I'm going to do. Let's move on to the next slide here. Okay, friction points. So this is actually getting a little bit better here. JetBrains, I took that one task off. So I heard back from JetBrains. It's one of those things where it's sort of like, can I get a little, vote of confidence here about your Blazor efforts? And they replied, so, you can't, it's not like it's a guarantee or anything, and you can't really hold that much weight, but at least they did it, right? And that's really, in my world these days, that's really all that matters for me. It took the time just to do that, and that's enough for me. And, it's not really that huge of an issue. I mean, it is, because it is kind of a drawing thing. It does, it does hinder development, and it does, get in the way a little bit. But for the most part, it's something I can live with for another 6 months maximum, sort of thing. We'll see how I do. But so I took off one, and then along came 17.2 preview 2 or is it preview 3? I think it's preview 2 for Microsoft, and it did not like ReSharper at all, and ReSharper just stopped working. So I took one off and put on another, and then they fixed it, but it was only for the EAP for the preview, and so now I'm between a rock and a hard place here, because the EAP requires all new extension installs, and I don't know of all my extensions from ReSharper now in the EAP, and so it's just, and it's like, on the thread there, you can read the comments. People are like, yeah, it's a preview. What do you expect? And I'm like, yeah, I know. But still, it's like I had the release to market working really well, and it was working well with the preview of Visual Studio, and it's just, things were working really good, and then this happened. That's just name of the game, right? Just get used to it, sort of thing. Okay, so that's JetBrains, and I think going forward, that's going to be okay. I think all is going to be better, and I might actually remove JetBrains for the next session here. Other outstanding issues for Microsoft, right? We've got these GMP files that are corrupted. That's just, I'm going to keep, pinging every time I post one of these. I'm going to be like, hey, Microsoft, here you go. I'm still talking about it. So, because it's like half of the requests or half of the tickets that I've push into Microsoft have this problem, right? And then there's this debugger, and I can confirm now having to install the release to market for Visual Studio. I can confirm that this is not in the release to market, and it's only in the preview. So there's a very clear discrepancy. And so I might actually get one of my older solutions, because I provided them to JetBrains, and I might send that over to Microsoft to kind of like help out with that, to kind of really demonstrate, this is a real problem that's in the preview, that's not in the release version. So, all right. So with that, we've got the OAuth 2. I'm getting some conversation here. So shout out to the ASP.NET Contrib repository. I really appreciate it. People are starting to help out with their thoughts, but still the answer is that no one really knows what happens, right? There's no concurrent, there's no like, here, go follow this website and this will tell you exactly what you need to do, or this will give you more. Everyone's just like, yeah, we imagine it will do this, or we think it will do that, and there's no like conclusive, like, conclusive proof, or conclusive, like a firm answer type of thing. So that is still ongoing. And I'm almost tempted to just like, I'm just going to create an account and just violate a rule. If that's what it's going to take, because Twitter is really the only provider that I have doubts around this, right? Twitter is really the only is the only provider that Twitter is the only place where a person can go on and get can violate a policy. Really, with Patreon, that's kind of difficult to do. Or what are some other ones with DeviantArt? Maybe you could do it with DeviantArt, but Twitter is really where all the action happens, right? People just say inflammatory stuff there all the time. So it might just involve me just creating an account and seeing what happens, sort of thing. Okay, so finally, Azure, I just talked about that. I have this problem now with Azure, with the continuous delivery, continuous integration. It's just not working, and I've got an outstanding ticket, and it's hopefully we can get that resolved here next few days. So, all right, let's move on. Okay, effectiveness level. It's actually dropped a little bit to solid 3 this week, and I've been in those half points. And this week, just with all of the things going on, it's still, it's been a huge challenge getting things done and just staying focused and like learning all the different schedule and components and everything. So hopefully going forward, yesterday I got that dashboard. It was really nice to get in the code. It's so nice to get in the code and be like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what I feel comfortable doing. And it's good to be there. So hopefully going forward, this is one of those things where it's nowhere else to go but up. Hopefully that's the case for next week. Okay, time to Shill. It's my favorite part of the episode, where I walk you through a feature of starbeam.one, whether it's a feature that I worked on in the previous week, or since the last episode, or if it's one that already exists because I couldn't get any features done because I was working on DevOps sort of thing. And that's the case this week. Last week, I went through the purchase process and kind of showed you what it looks like when you purchase something. In this case, we're continuing that to show you what exactly you purchased, right? So that's a big question. It's like, okay, well, I purchased something, but what exactly is it that I purchased? And so what you purchased was a digital license. So what you sell and what you buy here on Starbeam.one is a digital license. And digital licenses have been around for as long as I can remember. And the difference here is that you can not only purchase your digital license, but you can resell it to another party. And that's actually how digital licenses work, is that they ascribe rights to the holders of that license. And so for Starbeam.one, for the alpha, there's 2 rights assigned to every license for each holder of that license. And one, as I just talked about it, is the ability to resell on a provided resell a secondary market. And the second one is to be able to view the associated content. And so for every license that is produced with Starbeam.one, there is a generated website that goes along with that. And you can only see that content if you hold that license. So that's how it works. It's kind of like a key in a lot of ways. And so without further delay here, let's kind of walk through. This should look familiar from last week. And here I am on the, I get to the screen by going up to the Star Vault link up here in the heads up display, and it will show a list of items that you currently collect, or they are currently within your collection, and if you click on one of those, that will take you to here to the details. So this is what I purchased last week from going to the front page and going through the purchasing process. And here I have the ability to see its number of what, so for every license that's created, we have an index. So we see what number it is within the system. So so there's 94, to give you an example here, there's 94 licenses that have been generated and issued in the entire starbeam.one system. And so this is the 85th out of those 94. So as time goes on, this will be like, so let's say that the system ends up issuing 100,000 licenses or more, right? This will be the 85th out of those 100,000. And so there's a little bit of value. The more licenses that get issued, the more active the system becomes. There's the more value that the earlier ones get, sort of thing. And so that's kind of how these numbers work. And just to be aware of that, and that's kind of kind of demonstrating the value here. Okay, so now that we kind of got that out of the way with the index, let's see what we actually purchased, right? And this is the being able to view the content, and that's what we're going to do here. Is we're going to click this launch, and that's going to open up a website. Okay, and so here we are. So we have, so like I mentioned, is that for every license that is generated, there is a website that is generated along for that license. So this license, the license that I hold, can only view this content that you see. It's a generated website. And so for every website is generated, it has four sides. And so I've got a CD. You probably seen me use this throughout the introduction videos, or just through through the product tour, is where I've used this before. And I use the old school CD. So you have a front side, the A side, you've got the back side, the B side, and then you've got the C side, I'm calling it, for content, which would be the CD right here. And then you've got the D side, which is on the inside. And that is for discovery, as we will see. And so that's how that works. I take the same paradigm that you just saw there, and I move that to this website. And so you've got an A side, which is the cover, and we can open that, or we can flip it over to the B side, which is the back side here. And so, I'm clicking on the wrong screen, excuse me. And I'm going to click on B. And demonstration, live demonstrations. Okay, and so here we are. So now I'm on the backside, right? And now this is a generated website. This is kind of the value, right? Now we're on the backside, and this is the B side, and there's all sorts of really cool things that we can do with this. And so you got statistics. Yeah, we can say that this is a generated website. So we can add all this information that just goes along with the product, right? So the digital product, and it tells all the different things about it. So like transactions, previous owners, things of that nature. And this is kind of a key point here, is this license, right? So getting back into that license, okay, what we talk about what a digital license ascribes. What are those rights exactly? And that's what you're going to find here. I'm getting this actually worked out, getting legal documentation that will describe this in legal terms, exactly what those rights are. Like I just described them earlier, right? You get the right to view content, which is what we're doing now, and then the right to resell that. And so that's what that's going to say specifically. And as we add more rights, we'll be able to update this document and let you know exactly what those rights are for that license that you purchased, right? And so kind of just walking through here again, having that website, having the ability to have all these different sections, all these different pages, and then finally kind of going on to sponsors, right? Is we can generate some revenue here with some sponsors, with some relevant advertising, and also notice that it's out of the way. It's not in the content at all. It's on the B side. It's on the back side. It's out of the way, sort of thing. Advertisers might not like that, but I think consumers will, and they'll actually use it a lot. I know I would. I'll use things more that aren't in your face and up in your grill, so to speak. Kind of that's how I designed it as well. So it's not to be all really up, being annoying about it. We also have sponsors down here as well, as you can see. And so hopefully that gives you an idea for the B side. I'm going to go back to the A side here, and then click on this open, right? And this is going to open that CD that you saw earlier. And here we are, right? And then this is what I purchased was illustrated poetry, or illustrated text. And that's what this template is that I used to generate this. So I've got poetry, I got my text, and then I've got my art. I've got an illustration that goes along with that. So I can scroll through the text here, and I can see the text here, and I can read that. And notice that this is text. This is actual text. This is formatted text. This is Markdown, actually. And so it preserves all the formatting exactly as intended and it's designed. It's not an image, as you'll see with like NFTs and whatnot. This is typically with NFTs. I know that they do text as well, but this is actual text. And so here's the image. And so I could go to the image, and it's kind of a cool little thing that I put together, kind of like learning how to draw and whatnot. But you can open that up into a new tab and see that in more detail. And so I'm learning how to draw here, and that was one of my first daily art things, so I put that together. All right, so let's see. Can we go to D here? All right, so this is discovery, right? So kind of moving along with this this whole notion, this theme of having different sides. It's the D side for discovery, and the lining up with a D, and the word is intentional, sort of thing. And so here we allow a whole new page, right? This is just generated HTML and it's content. We can put whatever we like in here and just kind of show what this is, some possibilities of showing some recent works by myself. This is all placeholder what you see, but hopefully this gets the idea, like related. We could also just show other related works from the network if we wanted to, and then maybe some additional special offers from partners if we wanted. And, and the other thing I'm going to be doing for every product that I issue here is shout out to Michigan and Advertising Michigan for visiting Michigan, right? And so that's what you see here. This picture was taken up in Traverse City, a little advertisement, and again, getting into banner ads as well. So having relevant, not in your face advertising, having subtle advertising that's just there to kind of produce revenues, but also maybe also produce value for the user as well, because it is out of the way. I don't want to be in your face, and I don't want it to get in the way. Like I would never put it on the cover here, or I never put it in the content sort of thing. So hopefully that gets you an idea. This is a total digital product, and this product was generated for this license specifically, and it can only be viewed with that license. So hopefully you get a little bit of an idea there of what it is you just purchased. All right, let's move on to the next slide here. Okay, there we are. Another episode in the books, and thank you for your time here. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight, even though there really wasn't a lot that I was able to provide. We got the dashboard, and we got DevOps again, and hopefully next week, I'll be able to show additional work around those, the front page and the storefront, some additional improvements. And if I get even more work done, we can show, a little bit of a workflow improvement around creating new creations. So thank you for your time here. I'm trying to keep it under 30 minutes. 30 minutes was a little long for me last week, and 25 minutes seems like about where it's going to be, 20 to 25 minutes. And hopefully that gives you a little bit of information, and you enjoyed that, and you have feedback. There's the hashtags we've got and the QR codes. These are QR codes, by the way, and they will take you to, that will take you to my Twitter profile, and we also have feedback at starbeam.one, and then just go to the starbeam.one. It will take you to alpha.starbeam.one. Okay, thank you for your time here, and until next time, stay bright.